So Yooka-Laylee is coming out with a brand new game this coming fall, but it takes a completely different direction from the original game. Is this the right decision for the Yooka-Laylee franchise? Let's discuss right now.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag.
A quick shout out to Den the Hedgehog. This person has actually drawn quite a few fan arts and Metal Duckos, so I'm going to show them all off in this video really quickly. But yeah, I'm loving the style of this one in particular. I love the female Metal Duckos drawing that they did. I also love this one where it's a little bit inspired by Michael Jackson with the fedora and everything. It looks somewhat like how Michael Jackson looked in Smooth Criminal, so it's really awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Anyway, hello there beautiful human. My name is RiderCX. Welcome to my channel where today we're gonna talk about something that's pretty new to the channel, although I am hoping that like you all would be interested in this topic because I know that I have a lot of Banjo-Kazooie fans, so I'm thinking that chances are you all know about Yooka-Laylee at least, which is supposed to be like a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, at least the original game was. And so we all know that Yooka-Laylee came out like a few years ago, and that was supposed to be like a theoretical Banjo 3, I guess, and that game had a lot of like mixed reception from what I've gathered. But there's a brand new Yooka-Laylee game coming out this year, and it's called Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. And this game makes a very interesting change to the formula, because instead of going for the 3D collectathon formula that they did with the first game, they're going for a 2D side-scroller instead. And it's a very interesting direction, and I was a little bit surprised to see that they were going for this. Now, I don't know too much about the game itself. I just know that like it's set up in a way that you can kind of tackle what's called the Impossible Lair from the very beginning of the game, but the Impossible Lair is a very difficult level, and so your best interest would be to go play through most of the levels in the game in order to kind of get stronger, so that when you get to the final level you can actually pass it and then finish the game. And it's a very interesting concept. If you all would want to hear more about that game, then please let me know in the comment section below, and I could maybe do a quick little video about everything we know so far about the game. But that's kind of all I know so far about the game. But my question for today's video is this a good idea for Yooka-Laylee to do? Because Yooka-Laylee established itself as like a 3D collectathon when it first debuted, and so to switch directions towards a 2D side-scroller is a very interesting and quite puzzling choice. Now, in order to kind of talk about why they possibly went with this direction, we have to go back to the original Yooka-Laylee. And so Yooka-Laylee was originally a Kickstarter project made by developers that had left Rare to start up their own company called Playtonic Games, and this game was clearly advertised as not only a spiritual Banjo-Kazooie successor, but also as just a game that was going to bring back the 3D collectathon genre in general. And so the Kickstarter absolutely exceeded the targets that they were going for. And then when the game came out, there was definitely a good amount of people that loved the game, but there was also a lot of people that didn't love the game. Now, I've actually have not played the game that much. I have purchased it on my PS4, and I played about an hour of it, so it's not enough for me to kind of like say a full opinion of what I think about the game. But playing this game back to back with Banjo-Kazooie, I can definitely understand why some people had some criticisms for the game and why they were a little bit upset of how Yooka-Laylee turned out. But here's something that I really want to like say in regards to this situation with Yooka-Laylee. I think Yooka-Laylee was destined to be criticized, you know, thinking back on it. Now, obviously I wasn't there or like paying attention when the actual game came out, but looking back on it now, when you advertise that much that this game is supposed to be like a successor or basically a sequel to one of the biggest gaming franchises in the world, if it is at all a lesser version of Banjo-Kazooie, it was going to get heavily criticized no matter what. You know, I think Playtonic Games kind of shot themselves in the foot by making this game so blatantly obvious that it was a successor of Banjo-Kazooie, right down to the name being two musical instruments. It's just like, if this game wasn't anywhere near as good as Banjo-Kazooie, even if it was like 5% worse, people would have hated on it because they would have been expecting something as good as Banjo-Kazooie, because that's what they did with their marketing. That's why they were able to get such a high profit for the Kickstarter, because people were expecting that. But because they weren't able to live up to those expectations, Yooka-Laylee has a lot of mixed reception around it, despite the fact that, at least from what I've played, it's still a pretty solid game. You know, it's not a perfect game, but it's a pretty solid game. But everything about the original Yooka-Laylee is basically a successor to Banjo-Kazooie. Like the way that it's set up, the kind of music that's in the game, the two characters themselves, the kind of levels that you have, it all screams and shouts Banjo-Kazooie. And so when you have that legacy to live up to being pushed into your face 24/7, how are these developers ever going to live up to Banjo-Kazooie? Like I really think that was like, even though it was with good intentions to like market the game that way, I really think that Playtonic Games set up these impossibly high expectations to live up to, and as a result, people don't have the fondness of opinions when it comes to Yooka-Laylee. And so I really think with that mindset in my head, it makes sense why they decided to go over a different direction for Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. So what's really interesting about Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, by the way, is that it actually looks like the gameplay is very similar to Donkey Kong Country, which was another series of games that Rare made back in the mid-90s, I think. Now, I've not played those games at all personally, and so I have no opinion as to what the gameplay of this game is going to be like, but I just think it's a very startling change to go from the 3D collectathon genre to this 2D side-scrolling one. It does have a 3D overworld that's supposed to kind of like bridge the levels together, but the 3D overworld does not play like Yooka-Laylee at all, so it basically is a completely different kind of game despite both of them being platformers. And so, do I think this is a good decision? Yes and no. And so, I think it's good that they're trying something different in Yooka-Laylee, because I mentioned before that like Yooka-Laylee basically was living inside the shadows of Banjo-Kazooie, you know, living in it, breathing in it, eating their food in it, you know. Yooka-Laylee was literally just a Banjo-Kazooie shadow, and I really think that did a lot to like kind of hurt what people were going to think about the game when it came out, because living under the shadow of one of the greatest games to ever come out, that's just a recipe for disaster in terms of like how people are going to see that game compared to the original game. And so I think it's good that they're trying to do something different with Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, because if they want Yooka-Laylee to actually be like a sustainable franchise, they need to find a way to make it stand up on its 2 feet, you know? It can't live under Banjo-Kazooie's shadow forever and continue to be a successful franchise, because people are just going to keep seeing it as a lesser version, and as a result are not going to be that interested in it. And so I think that their logic with trying something a little bit different with the Impossible Lair is a good kind of logic, because, you know, trying to do something different, making it stand out a little bit more from Banjo-Kazooie is always going to be a good decision for them. Now, in terms of 2D gameplay though, I'm not really sure. I mean, I will give it a chance. I've never gotten to play the Donkey Kong Country games before, and so I have no opinion as to what I'm actually going to think about the gameplay. However, I will say that like historically, I prefer 3D platformers. Like it's been a lot more difficult for me to get into any 2D platformers compared to 3D platformers, and so I'm not as excited for the Impossible Lair as I think I would have been for Yooka-Laylee when that game came out. However, I am still willing to give it a chance, and who knows, it might be a really good game. I hope they don't make it too similar to Donkey Kong Country, because then Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair would be living under the shadows of Donkey Kong Country, and they basically just be running into the same problem that they had with Yooka-Laylee, which was trying to live up to a game that has such a great legacy for the company. And so I hope Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair tries a lot of different things from Donkey Kong Country. If you all know if there's a lot of differences between the games already, then please let me know in the comment section below. Like I said, I never played Donkey Kong Country, so I don't know how similar or how different these two games are, but I am appreciative, and I think it's a good idea that Playtonic Games is trying something a little bit different in this game, and hopefully it's successful, hopefully it's a good game, and hopefully people enjoy it. However, I do think that like just the idea of having a 2D side scroller following like a 3D collectathon, I just don't think that idea is as exciting, and so I don't know how excited people are for this game, and especially compared to the original Yooka-Laylee. Like they definitely won't be as excited for this game compared to the original Yooka-Laylee, but hopefully people will still give this game a chance. At the end of the day, the more that Yooka-Laylee can stand out from Banjo-Kazooie, the better it is going to be for the long-term success of this franchise. And I think if Banjo-Kazooie does come back, like I have a feeling it's going to, then it's even more important than ever for Yooka-Laylee to stand out, because if you're gonna have Banjo-Kazooie and Yooka-Laylee on the shelves side to side, what do you think people are going to choose? They're going to choose Banjo-Kazooie. So they need to start making sure that Yooka-Laylee can kind of stand out with its own unique style of gameplay and can really add something new to the 3D collectathon, instead of trying to recreate something that's kind of impossible to recreate at this stage. You know, Banjo-Kazooie was a really special game, and they hit all the right spots of that game, and it's really hard to like kind of make that kind of magic happen twice. But the only way that they're going to do that is to make something that's original, something that's going to stand out on its own, and something that will add something new to the genre. And so I hope that as Playtonic Games keeps making Yooka-Laylee games, that they continue trying new ideas until they find something that people will be really into, because they're not going to get anywhere with just making Yooka-Laylee try to live up to Banjo-Kazooie, especially if Banjo-Kazooie does end up coming back eventually. But what do you all think about this? Do y'all like the idea of a Yooka-Laylee going for the 2D side-scroller genre, or do you wish they had gone for another 3D collectathon? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and let me know if you're interested in both Banjo-Kazooie and Yooka-Laylee, or if you're just interested in one franchise over the other. And yeah, that's it for everything. Alright, please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you like videos like these, want to see more in the future, follow me on Twitter or Twitch, or join my Discord server, the Spongy Garden. A special shout out to Reese Gaming, my one and only patron. If you would like to become a patron or YouTube member today and get access to a bunch of different perks, then please check out the links in the description box below. And yeah, that's it. This is Riders, riding out.